Motivation Monday is what we do in the second hour of Jam 316 every Monday morning. What is Motivation Monday all about? We bring you stories of people who have overcome adversity in their lives, or stories of people who are doing something to give back to the community, or just somebody who has learned something and they're using it to transform the lives of others. That is what Motivation Monday is all about. And so if you know such people, get in touch with us. Let us know where they are so that we can get them into the studio to share their story and to inspire others. Today, we are hanging out with an amazing lady. She is known as Rose Gatobu, and she is the founder and CEO of Rose Gatobu Foundation. Rose, how are you doing?
I'm very fine.
Asante sana. Thank you for coming to the studio today. We can't wait to hear about what you are doing. Tell us a bit about yourself. Who is Rose?
Okay, Rose, I'm just an ordinary person. I'm a parent. I have 2 sons.
Nice.
I'm also born again.
Yes.
I love the Lord. I'm an author of the book My Pain, My Miracles, that has my story of how I endured maybe my pains. And then I'm also a civil servant. I work as an office administrator.
Yes.
And I'm very excited to be part of what I am.
Nice. I like that. Tell us about the Rose Gatobu Foundation. What is it all about? What do you do?
Okay, Rose Gatobu Foundation. It is a foundation that I'm the founder, and I serve people. I see people who have needs, like the orphaned children, the street boys, and any person who the Lord leads to who has a problem. When I see you have a problem, I will come to you, and I'll ask you, what is it? And then I will work with you. If it's food you need, I will buy you food if I can afford that time. And then as we start a conversation to understand exactly where you're coming from, I'll try to meet your needs. I may not be able to meet everything, but at least I'll do something. I won't leave you just like that.
Okay. What led you to start doing this?
Okay, the reason why, as I said, God has given me a gift of mercy and compassion. I was there. I know how it feels when you want somebody to help you and you can't tell them, please help me. Maybe when they look at you physically, they see there's a problem somewhere, but somebody just ignores you. I'm this kind of a person, I won't ignore. Because I know how it feels to be in that state. So that is what led me want to be helping people, because I used to cry and ask, why can't they see me? I'm walking and somebody is driving and I'm carrying my baby on my back and I'm carrying luggages. I need help. Why can't somebody just help me? And they're alone in the car. So those are the things that made me want to say, when in future or when God blesses me, I don't think I'll pass someone. I'll be able to reach out to them.
Wow, I like that. Take us back to your childhood. Because you say you've been through quite a bit, and you've even said your book is talking about your pain. How was your childhood growing up?
Yeah, I grew up in a very humble background. My parents were all civil servants.
Yes.
But unfortunately, my father had a struggle of alcoholism. And it's a life that I wouldn't want anybody to go through, because we really suffered. The abuse that he gave us, and harsh words and all those, and belittling us and making us feel like we are good for nothing. It's a life that I never wanted. So that's how I grew up with an alcoholic parent. And it wasn't such a beautiful life. So I never enjoyed my childhood. Because of what we were going through.
Did you grow up here in the city, or did you grow up in the countryside?
I grew up in the countryside. I come from Isiolo.
Isiolo.
Yes.
Nice.
So my parents, they come from Meru, but because they were civil servants, they were posted to Isiolo district. My father was an executive assistant, officer, in the Ministry of Water, and then my mother was a nurse. So when they were posted there, they decided to live there. And you see, it's a harsh place. So many people don't like going to work in such places. So they were never transferred. So for them, they settled there. So that's where I grew up.
Wow. So was your father an alcoholic from the very beginning? I mean, the earliest memories you can remember of your father, was he an alcoholic? Or is it something that grew on him gradually?
He was an alcoholic from the day I got to know him.
Wow.
Because since I was that small girl, my father used to come home every evening drunk. He rarely came home not drunk. And the days he came not drunk, they are very countable. Yeah.
So how did this affect you as a child?
It affected me because I saw in our neighborhood, he was, I would say he was the only one who was drinking.
Okay.
And other fathers were very loving, they were taking care of their children. But my father was the one who was drinking. And you would shout from the far. And everybody knew my father because he started talking when he lives wherever he was drinking from, he will come talking on the road, shouting, saying things. So it really affected me because I would see that's my father.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I can change about it. I can't tell him to stop. It's affecting us. And by the time he's reaching home, everybody, we are scared. We don't know what will come up. Because he used to beat us for nothing. And it was a very funny scenario that was very uncomfortable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did the children in the neighborhood make fun of you?
They did.
What are some of the things they would say or do?
So my father would come drunk and he's dancing on the road, yeah? And then he's singing like a song. There's a song he used to love to sing, Kata, Kata.
Yes.
Yeah, so people started calling him Kata. So when we are walking around, wale ni watoto wa Kata, you know, it used to break us. Because we know when they say watoto wa Kata, we know what it depicts being mtoto wa Kata. Yeah, that drunkard guy who was singing the song Kata, Kata on the road. And we were branded names. And then sometimes he would come home and start now beating us, and all of us, we scatter, everybody looking for where to go and look for refuge.
Yeah.
And then we would end up in neighbors' homes. 1 day, 2 days, and guys would be very bored with us. So people didn't like us because they knew we would always run to them and invade their privacy. So we were not friends to many people.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many brothers, sisters do you have?
I'm the firstborn, and I have my follower who is a sister, and then the 2 boys,
Okay.
my brothers.
Okay. How did your mother handle all this?
Well, I call my mom a strong woman because even in all what she was going through, she stuck there. And when my father even would be hurt when he was drunk, my mother was there for him. And he supported my father. And there is no day my mother put my father down. He respected him. He loved him. And I think that's why, even in my life, I would get people who are abusive. I would tolerate them. But because I used to tell my mom, why are you tolerating this guy who is beating you and all this? And you say, if I go, who will take care of you? So I also tended to do what she was doing in relationship. But I remember there's a day I told her, I wouldn't want to be like you. So every time I would see somebody doing something wrong to me, I would not be as enduring as my mom. And for me, I call it a gift because she stood by him for the longest.
Okay.
And she has never given up.
Wow.
Yeah.
She did not even think of disappearing because of the abuse and all this.
She has never. And she always stood by him.
Is your mom born again? Was she born again?
She's born again in the Catholic. They call it the charismatic Catholics.
Yes.
Yes, so she's a charismatic Catholic who is born again.
So would you say then that her relationship with God played a huge part in giving her the strength to stay and to just support your dad even though all these things were happening?
I would say very true. My mom loves God so much.
Yes.
And she loves her God. And she's very prayerful.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, I really admire my mom because even today when I'm in crisis, the first person I know who would start with me in prayers, and I tell her, pray for me. I know it's my mom. And she's very faithful.
Okay.
Yes.
So as you're growing up, when you're a child, some of these things are happening.
Right.
You may not think much of them.
Yeah.
But as you grow up, you become a teenager, you begin to get self-awareness. You begin to be concerned about what other people think about you.
Yeah.
In your teenage years, how was this scenario affecting you?
Oh my goodness, it wasn't a bed of roses. Actually, I knew I'm good for nothing.
Oh.
Yes, but I knew inside me there's something good. But trying to bring it out, it couldn't come out because you could always see it on my face, the way I'm acting. And sometimes I would even get mood swings. And at some point, I got very depressed, and people didn't understand what I was
As a
going
teenager?
through. As a teenager, because I was in high school, I remember,
yeah.
and people did not understand me, and I didn't know what I was going through. And this time, I'm fighting about what we are going through at home, my expectation from my father, what I really want to show people I am, and I can't, and I was really affected, and I never knew I would end up being anybody. Yeah, because of the insecurities, low self-esteem, I never knew I'd end up being anyone.
Okay. Did you go to a day school or to a boarding school?
Primary, I went to day school, but now in high school, now I went to boarding school.
Okay. So would you say your time away from home?
Yeah.
Because it's almost like some sort of relief, eh?
Yeah.
Because now you don't have to deal with people talking about your dad singing on the road, coming home drunk,
Yeah.
the violence. So would you say time in school
Yeah.
was more valuable for you to be away from that environment?
Hey, I would say yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, the first 1 month, I'll be relieved. I'll be very happy. I'll even go to school. I won't study. I'll just go to have fun. As in, for me, it's having fun. It's nothing like school.
Yes.
And then after 1 month, reality dawns. I'm supposed to study and then sit down and think about my mother, whom I left home, and my siblings, and what they are going through. So instead of concentrating with my books, I am there thinking, if I was there, maybe I would help them. If I was there, because I was like the fighting. I used to fight for my mother. I'm the one who used to speak for her. She couldn't talk. She couldn't tell my father anything. I remember I'm the one who used to fight for her and tell my father things. He would beat me and turn me off, but I would tell him, yes. And he didn't like me because of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the times when he was sober, the few times you
Yeah.
recall him being sober,
Yes.
did you ever have conversations about this life that we are living and what's going on?
It was very hard to tell him such things.
Yes.
But we embraced the time because that is the time he was very sweet. Actually, my father was the sweetest that particular time when he's not drunk. And we used to wish he stops and gets born again so that he can bring out the best in him, because he
Yes.
was so loving, so kind, and he was there for us. And we really dreaded that time. Unfortunately, it was only on few days, not every time.
Okay.
Yes.
High school, you finish,
Yeah.
you go to college.
Yes, I finished, but I didn't pass very well.
Okay.
I was a very bright student, but because of what I was going through,
Yeah.
I didn't take my studies serious. I used to go to school to come out of home and just enjoy myself. So I was caught up by that aspect of relaxing, and so I didn't take studies very seriously. And by the time now I'm doing the exams, I panicked, and I was also in depression. So I didn't pass well. So
Okay.
I got a C minus, and I couldn't repeat because they said I repeat. And because I knew even if I repeated, the cycle is still the
It's
same.
still the same,
Yes,
yeah.
so there's nothing they're changing about it. I said, there's a secretarial college at Isiolo. I said, I used to see very beautiful girls going there. I wouldn't mind also going there
Yeah.
and do my secretarial studies. So that's how I joined college.
Okay.
Yes.
This morning we're hanging out with Rose. She's sharing her journey with us. She is the CEO and founder of Rose Gatobu Foundation. Basically, she says the gift that God has given her is the gift of compassion. She was telling me earlier, there's no way she can see somebody in need and ignore. There's no way. It's just not in her. Some of us, we see people in need, we run away. Her, she runs towards them. And whatever she can do, no matter how big or how little, she will do it. I pray that we have more people like her. If you have any questions for her today, 20316 is the SMS line. WhatsApp number 0786 316 316. Motivation Monday, and it's all about how to turn your pain into miracles. We're hanging out with Rose Gatobu today. She's sharing her story with us. She's the CEO of Rose Gatobu Foundation, which basically helps those in need. She says God gave her compassion. That's the gift she carries. There's no way she can see somebody in need and not do something about it. And we are getting to hear her story. Joyce is also in agreement. She says, even me, I can't see someone in need and I ignore. Most of the time, I'm just walking on the way and the Holy Spirit quickens my heart towards somebody. to find out that they are really in need of help. Joyce, that's the way to go. Asante sana. So back to this story, Rose. So you begin this secretarial course. How did that go along? How long was it? After that, did you find a job?
Yeah, so when I went to secretarial, I still had the depression. But I remember I prayed and I told God, this time round, because now I'm near home, I'm able to see my mom, so I'll concentrate more in school. So every Sunday they would come to church because we were Catholics. So we would meet in church when we go to church. So I would see her, she's okay, my sisters are okay, my brothers, so I would be settled in my heart.
The college was boarding?
It was boarding,
Okay.
and it was around home.
Yeah.
So when they come on Sunday, and as we used to go to that church, I would see them. So I would have some peace in me. Okay, yes, I know they are suffering, but at least I'm able to see them.
Yeah.
So I would concentrate more in school.
Okay.
But I was still struggling with the depression because I wanted the best to come out of me. So I really prayed and I told God, this time round, I want you to help me. I passed my exams. So I went there and I worked very hard. And luckily, I was the best student overall when I finished. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, I was offered a job there. Unfortunately, because I had got born again, they couldn't take me.
Oh, because you were born again?
Yes, because I got born again. So
Why?
Because I wasn't a Catholic anymore.
Okay.
And a priority was to be given to somebody who is Catholic.
Yeah.
So I didn't give up. I looked for a job. I remember I saw an advert and I applied. And I came to Nairobi for an interview at industrial area. That's how I was employed at Kogoro Food Complex as a receptionist.
Yes.
Earning 3,500.
What?
Yes. Yes.
3-5.
3-5.
In Nairobi,
In
Kanairo.
Nairobi, yeah, and I was 20 years old.
Wow. There's something you said earlier. I want to take you back to it. You talked about how your mom was faithful in the midst of all these troubles, and now you've also talked about your dad. I'm just wondering, how did that affect your relationships?
With my father?
Not with your father. Now you're a grown woman.
Yeah.
I'm assuming now you're working. Obviously, you get into relationships. You meet a man who likes you. You like him.
Yeah.
Did that have any effect? Did your environment in growing up and your experiences have any effect on your relationships?
Yeah, it did because unfortunately, because now my father wasn't there for me. So every time somebody would want to relate with me.
Yeah.
If my heart wants you, I will jump for it without
Oh.
even thinking whether you're a good person, because I'll just look at you. You're not drinking.
Yes.
Then you'll take me in. So I won't look at you as in another way. I'll just see the way you are physically. So it made me make very many mistakes because I would pick on somebody who I don't know. Yeah, because now there's something I'm trying to fill, the gap of my father.
Okay.
Yes.
So did these relationships end up hurting you?
They did end up hurting me because the kind of men I'm attracting is my father.
Oh.
Abusive men, people who don't care, they're not seeing my goodness.
Okay.
Just the same way I'm seeing my mother is so good to my father, but the response to him, abuse. And that did not, I wasn't understanding it. But I think in my subconscious mind, those are the kind of men I'll attract. Men who don't care. I'm good to them, but they'll never reciprocate.
Okay. So were they abusive also?
Very abusive. Very abusive. I've never been in any relationship where somebody is kind to me or they do good to me. I'm the one who will help them. I will do for them everything, but they will never reciprocate. They will just leave me hurting. Yes, I think they look at me like a fool. You see the way you come, you bully someone, and they're still there seated. And that's how I behaved, like my mother.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I'm just wondering about your dad.
Yes.
Is your dad still alive?
No, my father passed on in 2015.
Okay.
And it was on a Father's Day.
Oh my
That's the
goodness.
day he passed on. And this is because of the complications that came because of the alcohol. Yes, but by the time he was dying, I'm very sure he had made up with God. As much as he did not have time to confess to people and tell them that he is a changed person. Yes, but in that deathbed, I remember the Lord woke me that day and told me to to wish him a happy Father's Day.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that would be the last day for him to live.
Okay.
So that encounter with me, it's a mystery, because after some time when I was told he's passed on, the Lord was preparing me for his passing. It's something I didn't explain to people, but before, like 6 months before, prior to his death, I wrote to him a letter with a confession prayer, and I believe he did pray the prayer.
Okay.
Of
Had you
salvation.
reconciled with him? Were you in good talking terms before he passed on?
Yeah, actually in the family, I'm the one who had reconciled with him.
Nice.
But now I helped my brother and my mother to be part of it. But it was very painful for them because they were hurting, because they stayed with him more than
Than you
I.
do. Yeah,
Yes, so
yeah.
it was easier for me to forgive him and help my siblings and my mom, because I wasn't very near. Because it's like I had gotten my healing when I
Okay.
went out. But for them, they were really hurting. But because of my relationship with God, and then my father loved me so much, there was that part where I would talk to him, and I would tell him to forgive us, and he would tell me, I've forgiven you people, and I would tell him what to do. He would do it. But of course, there was that that friction with them. Yeah, but I know personally,
Yeah.
he did forgive us.
Okay.
And we forgave him.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, but looking at the things you've gone through, they're very heartful things. They're very deep things. They're very personal, emotional things.
Yes.
And a lot of people would hold on to such things and not forgive.
Yeah.
Maybe you can share something brief about the importance of forgiveness and how it has helped you in your own life.
Yeah. I thank God because I'm this kind of a person. I easily forgive. I trust very fast.
Yeah.
And I forgive very fast. The essence of forgiveness helps someone to heal faster and to move on. Like, for example, I get into a relationship and I'm really, really hurt. Once I leave the person, of course, I'll go through some painful experiences for a few minutes or for a few months. But once I choose to forgive, I'll just start getting my healing. And that's how I've overcome the pain I've gone through. Because when you read my book and you see what I've gone through, and you look at me and you're like, and she's still alive,
Yeah.
and she's okay. Hey, she must be a very strong person. What has helped me is forgiveness.
It's forgiveness.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. You know, people don't realize when you forgive,
Yeah.
it's more for you than the other person.
True.
You know, because you find the healing that you're talking about, and you're able to move on. You know, so all these pains you've gone through, how do you turn them into miracles?
Okay. There's a verse in the Bible that I really love. The verse, Romans chapter 8, verse 28.
Yes.
Where it says, all things work together for good. Those who are called upon according to the purpose. You know, God has called us with a purpose.
Yeah.
So what I know about that verse, or what the verse tells me, is that everything I go through, whether good or bad, God knows about them.
Yeah.
So for him to say there's a purpose in that good and bad, for me to be able to be used by him for his glory, then I had to embrace my pain. And this is how I took it. One day, when I was around 40 years, I was in the bathroom, and I started praying, and I asked God, okay, why would you allow me to go through all this? And I got born again long time ago in high school. Why haven't you been helping me to overcome these things that come my way? Because I'm born again anyway. And I remember that day the Lord spoke to me, a voice spoke to me, and he said, you have gone through all that because I want you to serve me. I was like, really? Okay, why didn't you tell me all this before? Long time, so that I know I'll go through this pain because of this. Why wouldn't you tell me that? And then he kept on telling me, I wanted you to feel and understand. So that when I call you to do something, you will feel it and you will do it. Yes, because you understand. I was like, now I agree with you. So why would you not tell me all these things? And then he tells me, Rose, I'm giving you a ministry, and it is not a small ministry, it's a big ministry. Look at David, look at Joseph. What ministry did they have? I said, big ministries. And he was like, yes, for you to be able to serve me in that level, you have to go through what you have gone through. So I've been making you. I've been cooking you. And when the time comes for you, you will take it. I was like, bring it on, Lord. I will take it. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good understanding. You know, sometimes And I love that you went to God and asked him, Lord, what is this all about?
Yeah.
Instead of complaining.
Exactly.
Because the easier thing, and the thing that many people do, is you complain. And you begin to wonder, God, why would you allow this to happen to me?
Yeah.
You know, you're not such a good, loving God at all. And you go in this different direction. But for you,
Yeah.
you went to God and he told you,
Yeah.
I'm giving you a ministry.
Yes.
You know, how did that affect or change your life when God spoke to you?
When the Lord spoke to me, I asked him something. You're giving me this big ministry. Who knows me?
Yeah.
Who knows me?
Yes.
And inside me, I can see a big ministry. But I'm not understanding how will I come out and I tell people, I'm this person with this big ministry. And then it is in that moment
Yeah.
that the Lord told me, write down all the pain you've gone through.
Oh.
The major ones.
Is that how the book came about?
That's how the book came about. And then he said, so that book is what will make people know who you are.
Oh.
Yes, and this is my story. So this book is now my identity.
When did you write the book?
I started the journey in in 2015,
Uh-huh.
but I was able to publish it this year.
Yes.
Yeah, as the book that I really wanted.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So this
like
year in August.
I like that.
Yes.
So has this book opened up some doors for you?
Yes, it has, because no, this is my second station to come and be interviewed. I've
Yeah.
never been on TV before. The other time I was in Switch, so this
Yes.
is the second time.
Yes.
This is a very good opportunity, and I'm so excited, and I can't wait for
Nice.
others.
Very true. And others will
Yes,
come.
and others are coming, and I know
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Yes.
It's about 21, not 21, but rather 19 minutes before we get to 7 o'clock. We're hanging out with Rose, and she's sharing her amazing journey with us. Shortly, we'll talk a little bit more about her foundation, how she began it, what are the kind of things she does, and we'll get to find that out shortly. If you have any questions for how maybe you identify with her story, SMS me, 20316 SMS line, WhatsApp number 0786 316 316. Thank you for your responses. This one says, I'm listening to Rose's journey. It is not easy, but thanks be to God for his loving guidance. Is Rose married? Well, if so, how has this helped her to handle her family? Rhoda in Gilgil, thank you for that. This one says, one of the most difficult things when you're passing through challenges, trying to understand the reason why God is allowing you to pass through such, but I feel encouraged when I listen to her story. Thank you for sharing that. Good morning, Pastor James. I relate very well in several ways with the lady in the studio. My dad was a drunkard and irresponsible. In fact, he didn't know which class we were in school. When he died due to liver failure, it was good riddance to us because we didn't know the Lord then. But I have forgiven him and I'm healed, especially when I gave my life to Christ. It was much easier to be able to release him. Thank you for sharing that. This one says, you can't believe her story has got such similarity to yours. God is indeed a good God, and you're grateful for the positivity in her life. Thank you so much. Keep the SMSs flowing. I was just wondering, Rose, even as we try and wrap up because we're almost out of time, did you ever think you would be an author?
I never even knew I can even write anything.
Yeah.
But I created a blog so that I can go and say and vent there and say the things that were in my heart.
Yeah.
So that's how I started blogging. And when I write something and I see people are reading, I was like, wow, you mean I can write? I can tell somebody something and they listen to me. So every time I write something and guys are reading, I got motivated. And then someone told me, Rose, you can write. I'm like, I can write what? And you can write a book. I'm like, a book? And then I write, I say what?
Yeah.
So it is in the process now when I realize, wow, you mean I can write?
Yes.
Then I can write about my story. And that's now how I started writing about my story, what I went through, and how I have overcome the pain and all that. And now I came up with a book.
Nice.
Yes.
Now, this foundation,
Yes.
how did you start?
Okay. In the first, it was not a registered foundation. I used to call it rogato, and rogato means rose gatobu. So I was trying to make it, to put the gist in it, so that it looks like something, So I would say rogato, as in rose gatobu, short form for rose gatobu. So I started calling myself rogato. So even the blog I created, I was calling it rogato.
Rogato, okay.
Yes, and that is now where I was writing whatever I was writing. But now, because I used to help people randomly, as in I don't have specific people. Like I told you, I would meet somebody on the street and I see they need something. I'll work with them. I'll buy them food, something like that. So it wasn't something that it was in my mind, but that's how I was operating. So I remember there's a time when I was attending church at Parklands Baptist Church. Yes, I was called to lead a Mizizi class.
Yes.
A Mizizi class, the book Mizizi,
yes.
by Pastor M. Murithi. So I was leading that class, and I remember at some point in the topics we're supposed to go and visit a less fortunate maybe organization. So somebody came up with an idea. We are going to Soweto and Bakassi. Yes, there's an orphanage there. So we went there. So when we went there, I really encouraged them. Those children, I encouraged them. They were clapping at me. I was motivating them, and guys were clapping at me. I was like, you mean I can encourage people? And in the process, we gave them whatever we had. We didn't have a lot. We had a packet, a 50 kg sack of rice, some oil, and I remember, I don't know, this bar soap. I can't remember. But that is exactly what they needed for that day. I was like, you mean God can answer prayer like that? Then I realized that this is something that I can do and help people. So in the process, I don't know, when we finished the whole scenario, a lady came and she told me, we have 2 children here. And these children, they don't have school fees. One comes from a total orphan home, and another one, the father died. So I decided to, I asked them, how do you want me to help them? I told them I can give 20,000 shillings to add to them. Then when I went home that evening, I couldn't sleep. I was like, how can I help these children? What I call it, unfortunate or fortunate, my son was not also okay, was not feeling well. So that time he didn't go to school. The school fees that he had, I was supposed to take him to school with. That is the money I took those children to school with. To join Form 1. Then I said, well, if I can do this, then I can really help people. But how do I do it? So once I helped those children, I went to the internet and I started asking people to give me money. Nobody came. So me, I wondered, when people, they can't help, they can't even see I'm genuine. So I was like, why can't people just understand that I can help people and support me? I help these people. So when I saw nobody is helping me, I said, then I think now I have to look for sponsors and people to help me, but I've never gotten anyone to help me.
So you're doing this by yourself?
By myself.
That's very interesting, because we have quite a number of people who have got a heart to help, and they see needs and they want to do something, but you're always thinking, I can't do much, so you never start. I don't know what you would tell those kind of people. You think, what I have, because you see, it's very interesting. God tells you he's giving you this big ministry.
Yes.
But then you don't have resources.
Very true.
But you don't stop.
I don't.
If you can help one, you help one. But there are those of us who are waiting to get enough resources to build this big ministry that God has told us he's giving us. So what would you tell that person who's waiting?
I would tell them not to wait. Even that little, even if you feel it is very little, support the person you're seeing has the potential of helping. Like, for example, when I come and I say, I want to help this child, please give me 1,000 shillings. You see, you might think that 1,000 shilling is little. It's a lot. Because you can imagine if 100 people gave 1,000 shillings, how much is that? So there's nothing that is little. That little you're saying is little, to someone it is not little, it's a lot. So give even that little that you have. You might even think 100 shillings is little. It's not little. That's a lot of money. Because I'm trying to imagine if, for example, I had a following, like on my Facebook, I have a following of 5,000 people. If everybody was to give me 100 shillings only, I would do wonders with that money, because I know God has given me that art of helping. If I can give my children's food to people, and maybe my children are looking at me, Mom, are you crazy? You're giving out our food. sometimes I'm a mystery to my children. They wonder, "Kwani mom, you don't love us?" They don't understand it's a ministry in me. So somebody told me, make sure before you do that, you also help your children.
Yes.
But there's a time the Lord will tell me, Rose, even your children, leave them. Just like this woman who the prophet went and found her with this kaunga kidogo.
Yes, na kamafuta kidogo.
Na kamafuta kidogo. Ati give me. And then she gave out.
Yeah.
Akufe too. There are some days I'm called to do that. And I do it. And my children are left hungry.
Wow.
Yes, and I do it. And once I do it, I see miracles. The Lord will provide for me automatically. Like in the government, you can see sometimes I'm paid some money I didn't expect. I'm taken for a course, for a short course, and I'm paid per diem. I'm like, you see, I did it, and the Lord has given me a lot. Yes, from it. So to me, it has worked.
Wow,
yes.
I love that. Would you say this has also inspired your children to be generous?
Hey, my firstborn. As I was telling you, I have a 24-year-old son.
Yes.
I think he's a bit different from me. Him is not as generous as me. He's somehow selfish. But I love his personality. Because sometimes he helps me to not go overboard. You know, sometimes
he brings some balance.
He brings some balance to me. So sometimes he tells, Aki, mom, I would want to be like you. Do you know, mom, that's a gift. I'm your child, but I can't do what you do. So to me, it motivates him. And my son tells me, mom, I know I will not be like you. But I'll also be a giver like you are.
Wow, I love it. I love it. Our time is up for today. What would be your parting shot? What would you tell people who've gone through pain and they don't understand why God would allow them to go through that pain? What words of encouragement can you give them today?
I'll tell them to understand that there's nothing that passes God, whether good or bad. But sometimes at that particular time, you will feel pain, you will go through a lot of pain. But once you sit down and settle, you will realize that there was something positive about it. Like, for example, I had an accident this year in February on Thika Road, and I rolled with my car. The car was a write-off, but I came out alive. So I could sit down and say, God, you hate me. You see, now even I don't have a car now, I'm walking around, and before I used to drive and all this, I would blame God with all that. But see, I had to look at it positively. Am I alive or not alive? I'm alive. So I take it positive. Like that the Lord has given me another chance to take care of my children. I bought a car I bought. One day, one of these days, you'll see me on the road again driving. The way he provided for me that car, he will bring another one. So be positive. Look at the positive in everything that comes your way, as much as it is painful. Yes, you'll go through the pain, yes, but look at the positive of it. Yes.
Awesome. Rose, thank you so much. Several people are asking where they can get your book.
Some people can get the book from me, as in you call me and you tell me where you are. I'll just send a rider to drop the book to you. Those who are not able to get the book, they can go online. I have a website, rosegatobu.com. Yes, there's a button somewhere there you click, and then you'll be guided how to go to Nuria stores where you will buy the book. Yes.
Great. Rose, keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for being an inspiration to this generation. I'm out of time for today, Motivation Monday. Rose is doing it. Are we doing something? Let's not wait for the big thing. Let's begin with the small thing. Help one person you can help today. Encourage one person you can encourage today. Uplift one person you can uplift today. You know, spare your lunch and give it to somebody else. That's how you start. And I'm sure several years to come, we'll be looking at Rose and we'll be wondering, how did you begin this huge foundation? And we will remember this interview. She starts with one person. So you and I, let's not wait. Let's also start with one person today and make our society a better place. Haya, Mungu akitujalia, tutakutana tena kesho asubuhi. Thank you so much for being a part of Motivation Monday.
Thank you for watching. Remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can get notified whenever we upload new fresh content every day. Stay tuned and enjoy fresh, uplifting content.